Starting the yoga, but having a very keen spiritual interest as a teenager, without even having a concept. I was reading all traditions, everything that contradicts the other things, and I was somehow agreeing with everything and somehow not agreeing with everything, but I was just on everything. I wanted whatever that is. I didn't even know if to call it spirituality. Truth, something. I think truth was my word then, and I was just burning for that. All my friends were 16, 17, and I was longing for that. They were sports, and I was just mad for whatever that is. I would just have these nights and weekends of longing for something I didn't know what it is. And in that process, yes, certain aspects that we described in the lecture of Kundalini, they started occurring then, and I had my little notebook and my little journal, and today it shaped like this, and it brought me to that state of consciousness, and this like that, and if I do like this, then I have this kind of thing in my body, and this out of the body, and so forth. And it was somehow from the beginning I improvised, systemized it, and after 3 years of that, I arrived to India and met our spiritual school and had all sorts of experiences, and I would faint and shake. I wouldn't remember where I am. I would open my eyes, my whole body would shake, and then the teacher was there. I couldn't recognize anyone. I didn't know where I was. I was very, very happy. I was just very happy, and all these people above me looking at me, until I finally recognized one of them. I realized, oh yeah, I'm in India. I'm in India. I think that's the teacher. That's the teacher. This is blissful. This is blissful. And the experiences continued. I met many, many teachers, and eventually, let's say, past a certain threshold, after about a year, I would start practicing 4 or 5 hours a day when I realized this practice does that. Then I think in the second or third day I was practicing yoga, I was practicing 5 hours. That's it. And I basically never stopped for almost 20 years now. Once I realized the benefits of yoga, and already in the first year of practice, the practice reached a certain peak. And as it reached the peak, I somehow realized, okay, this is my path. This yoga school, this Tantra school, because I met many teachers. And then in one of those experiences, I realized this is my path. And by the grace of the awakening of Kundalini, I had all the correct information showing me where my life should go. And I did a mistake then. I could repeat the experience the next day and the next day and the next day, and then with my teacher at the time and with friends I could do it. With my friends, just come, look, I'll show you something. I close my eyes and they will start also to have all the effects of the experience and feel very elevated and blissful and energized and so forth, and have some whatever experience there. But then I stopped, which was probably the right, I don't know, it was just my first year of practice. I stopped and I said, no, I'll go to the mountains. I never reached to the mountains, and for some years it somehow subsided, and only in later years I returned to practice it more systematically, as in the advanced years of our Tantra and Yoga courses, the techniques for awakening Kundalini are given, and then using the correct techniques, it was given the right impulse to practice that more. And yes, it is one of the most delicious, fulfilling, exciting, amazing aspects of the spiritual path. I feel this loving, blissful, intertwined relationship with Kundalini.
For me, there's 2 ways of experiencing Kundalini, and one of them is the more energetic form, which occurs for me when I do yoga. Simply after a few days of a few hours of yoga, Kundalini is relatively constantly burning, at least in the lower part of the spine, not leading to much more than a bit stronger sublimation than usual, a bit stronger transmutation as usual, a bit more hunger, something in that direction, a bit more dynamism, a bit more all of that. When the energetic expressions of Kundalini in my being become a bit more severe for me as a woman, typically during lovemaking and often during orgasm, that Kundalini rises to the heart, which usually, and as many women know, goes along with this cramping of the arms, that you can't move the arms, and then when Kundalini rises further, also that the face paralyzes to a certain degree. And usually this goes along with quite an expansion of consciousness. And for me, it becomes in these states of energizing very evident how Kundalini is an amplifier. So when I have a state of orgasm and Kundalini rises within it, I typically experience like a cosmic orgasm. I experience all the orgasms that I ever had all together with all the orgasms that were ever had within the universe and will ever be, and so forth. So it is very much amplifying what I'm experiencing in that moment. If I feel a lot of love in that moment, I feel all the love of all that ever been in the cosmic sense, and so on and so forth. And it's an extremely intense experience, as you can imagine, and many times I found myself just lying on the back and just trying to breathe. Typically after the high peak of such an experience, it would take me a long time to return even just to being able to move the body. But then the state of consciousness after such an experience remains altered, at least for me, for at least several days afterwards. And all of these I still consider quite energetic expressions of Kundalini rising within me. I've had a few experiences of what I would consider relatively full Kundalini rising that was not so much disturbed by energetic blockages, or within the experience, those experiences were typically meditations, typically standing meditations. For me, it's a lot of Kundalini experiences happen like that, which I felt how gradually the balancing between Ida and Pingala Nadi and the specific charge within the being took place, then the energy centering into Shushumna, and eventually just rising. And when I would feel that very precise and complete rising of Kundalini upward, it would always come along with a systematic, distinct shift from level to level of energy. So I would feel Kundalini rising through the chakras, and each chakra just being resorbed. And it would literally feel as if being wiped out from down up. This is just how it would feel, because all identifications, all energies, everything related to that level would just absorb. And that's it, just gone, all the way to the ground, and everything disappears. And this would go along, of course, with states of samadhi, with states of seeing like literally the particles of matter disappear around me, and so forth, like very distinct states of cosmic consciousness and so forth, which then would, for me, typically last, in some cases a few seconds, in some cases a few minutes, and then would have effects after, where I would just then sit in meditation, just remain not necessarily in a state of samadhi, but then in a state of deep silence and just meditating for a long time. And those I would consider the full Kundalini awakenings. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.